Hey everybody, my name's Lou Shortino, and I'm doing another podcast. Here we got Mike Shizzle.
What's up?
Oh, really going through that theme tonight, aren't we?
Hello.
Eric Adamczyk, you probably heard him from the Top 10 Ad Jingles podcast.
That was pretty fun.
And we'll bring in my little brother Eddie a little bit later.
Hey.
Sweaty
So, starting off...
I just want to jump in and something I noticed, which I don't know whether this is... It's interesting. The NBA has a lot fewer players than a lot of leagues, right?
This is going to be a great segue. Continue.
But do you think the NBA inherently has more interesting players? Or makes their players more interesting than or spends more time trying to make their players interesting?
Can I use this as a segue right now?
Yeah, please do.
So, the next topic we were going to talk about was picking the biggest reason the NBA isn't reaching the heights of the NFL on popularity. One of the biggest things I think the NBA has going for it right now is roster size. You, as a fan, as a viewer, are able to have so much more of a personal connection with the players because there's so fewer on the roster. You're able to say, I can actually remember this name, their interactions. The camera actually comes on court. I don't think the camera actually ever gets that close when the players are interacting in another sport.
I think the NBA has the personalities going for it because inherently the sport gets a lot of face time. It's a small court, the faces are uncovered. In the NFL, it's a huge field, players' faces are covered, you can't really...
That's actually a very interesting... I didn't think about that.
But reasons that the NBA isn't as big as the NFL and will never be as big as the NFL, it's not a social event like the NFL is. The NFL is a very, very... what's the word? It's discontinuous. Is that a word?
Yeah.
It's discontinuous. It stops, it starts, plenty of time for you to sit on your couch with your buddies and interact. Whereas if you're not watching an NBA game for a minute or two or three, you might very well miss something very important. An NFL game has plenty of breaks that are built in for the interaction.
I'm gonna kind of jump off of what you were saying, but I think for me the biggest thing, and this is just as a casual observer. I mean, I guess not casual, but as an observer of both, the main difference to me in the NBA, a single play can change the game in the final minutes of the fourth quarter, but for most of the game, in order to enjoy watching it, you need to have enough of a knowledge of the game to know what's going on with defensive assignments and mismatches and pick and rolls, and just you need to know the meta game, essentially.
That's true.
In the NFL, you know a dude throws up the ball, a dude goes down the field, catches the ball into the end zone. That's amazing. I need to cheer for my team right now.
That's true. That makes it easy for casual observers.
Because you can keep watching the game because anything can happen.
You know what makes the NFL so exciting is the down system. It adds some sort of, dramatics to each and every play. Oh, it's second down. Well, if they don't get this much yards, then they're going to have a tough third down. Then they're not going to be able to go even further down the field.
It's a sense of urgency.
NBA is like constant turnover, score, shoot, blah, blah, blah. But it's really cool because even more than the NFL, you get player styles, I think. Like, obviously, you get a fast running back. You get like a Jamal Charles. He's going to blow down the field.
Until he sprains his ankle.
Oops. But, NBA, you get their dunks, you get, their dribbling styles, you get big men shooting threes that shouldn't be.
So what I'm wondering is, our culture is one where we hate baseball so much because honestly, though, because we cannot, I think it's because we can't stand how much downtime there is between innings. How slow the game is. Does that problem happen with the NBA? Because of all the calls and all the stoppages and all the penalties that occur.
Before we get to there, I have one more point to add on to what I originally said about NFL being more of a spectator event. How many games in your season? 17 or 18?
16.
I was going to ask that later.
16.
Yeah.
It makes it much more approachable from a fan standpoint of view.
I think everything in the NFL is just more approachable.
It's built for the... I mean, I don't want to say it's built for the casual observer, but the casual observer can appreciate the NFL much more than 182 games in the MLB season, 82 in the NBA. I mean,
even in the NHL, there's so many games.
that's
it can
daunting. And you feel like you can miss 1 or 2 or 10 or however many, and you'll still get the gist of the season. If you miss 2 or 3 games in the NFL season, you missed a big chunk of the season. So you want to watch every single game.
That is very true.
Does the stoppage time and the pace of play for the NBA, does that hurt it from becoming a popular sport, say like the NFL?
I think it just makes it more of a task to watch an NBA game. If you really want to watch an NBA game and absorb all of it, it requires more or less your constant attention for 48 minutes. Because you want to see how your guys are running each play, how they're doing on offense and defense. Whereas if you're watching an NFL game, you can miss it down.
For the more knowledgeable observer, I think it doesn't matter. Because I think if you're a decently knowledgeable observer, you're going to use that stoppage time to think about what you saw, as opposed to just seeing something and then being bored. So in that way, I think those stoppages don't matter. But at the same time, the game is very fluid. There will be long stretches of time where play is constant. And that's where I think it's actually more constant than the NFL.
Another thing that baseball doesn't have going for it, there's no clock on it.
Right.
It's the outs, and that could be
Yeah.
10 minutes, it could be 1 minute.
Coach comes out to the pitcher's mound,
Yeah, let's take 2 more commercial breaks so we can see him throw 2
Yeah.
pitches and go back to commercial break.
I mean, Mike, you make a great point. I think we're all in agreement. It'll never be as big as the NFL, at least not for the foreseeable future.
I think it could be. I think basketball definitely has a future worldwide.
Worldwide for
I
sure.
think basketball and soccer, for all the differences, I think they're very similar sports. Basketball is less continuous than soccer, but I think the fact that you have the same guys on the court playing offense and defense for more or less a continuous stretch of time, I think that's approachable, much like it just has a lot of similarities to how soccer is played. Same guys on the field playing both offense and defense, liable on both ends of the spectrum.
And the other thing about soccer and basketball is kids can relate to the game because they can play it in their backyard.
Yeah.
You get
Very true.
You get a basketball, you go play hoops with your buddy right to your local park or school.
Yep.
Get a soccer ball, go play in a field. Football, you got to get a couple guys together, got to get the lines drawn. Baseball, you need gloves, ball, bat, a specific field. Golf, you need so much. The list goes on and on.
You're
Hockey.
talking about to play like a pickup game, not like
Yeah,
throw
Because
it
that's
around.
what I was going to say.
Right,
Yeah,
pickup games.
all of those sports, I kind of agree. I guess if you're
Just pickup
specifying
games.
pickup, I agree. But you're saying a pickup game that basically follows the rules of the professional game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Like a 2-on-2 basketball.
is probably the second
Yeah.
most
2-on-2
approachable
soccer.
next to soccer, which is the most approachable
Yeah.
by far.
2-on-2
that-
baseball would make no sense.
Yeah. No, I completely agree in that sense. I was a little worried that you were saying that it was just like picking up and kicking a soccer ball around, or something like
Oh,
that.
no,
In which
no,
case,
no,
I
no.
think the only one that's really difficult to do is hockey.
Right.
Unless you're from Canada, go outside.
But
Or all of America recently.
let's say you're Michael Silver, the
Adam Silver.
Adam Silver. I always do it. Let's say you're Adam Silver, the commissioner right now for the NBA. Do you cut down the games? If so, how many? They're at what, 82?
I mean, 82 games a season. It looks like they're going for a lot more advertising for the games. They're adding the sleeves on the jerseys so they have more jersey space to sell. I don't think they would ever cut games because then they're cutting commercials.
Tickets.
They're cutting tickets.
All the
It's funny that you say that though. That would make them another way, like very much like football, soccer. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
having those brands right on the jerseys.
That's a
something
soccer
the
thing.
NFL
That-
does not do.
Yeah. Well, the NFL doesn't need to because they're a giant tsunami of money that just.
Well, soccer doesn't need to, but
I would disagree. I think for a lot of
how much money does La Liga make?
but how many teams are there in each league?
Regardless, you can
Each-
always make more money.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You
saying.
you always
I
could.
It's not a matter of enough money.
I
There's
think it's just
more.
there are 32 NFL teams. There are 500 worldwide soccer teams. There's just not as much money in the industry. You're relying a lot more on local fan bases. I think they do kind of need it.
But if you had the choice, would you put sponsorships on NBA jerseys?
Would it directly impact my fan experience? Considering that I'm somebody who would probably go to, if I had the opportunity in the free time, I'd probably try and go to 4 or 5 games throughout a season to go to actual games, and I'll watch probably about a third of the games if they're on television. Do you think that adding advertisements would give the NBA enough revenue to actually implement changes that I would notice?
I don't think they would ever
Who knows?
actually. I don't think they would ever actually take the opportunity to make those changes. One of the reasons that soccer has all the ads on the jerseys is because it's 45 minutes of continuous play. There's no space for commercials, so they need to have all the revenue that they can get. I mean, they get plenty, but every dollar counts. If the NBA starts making more money from if they start selling ads on jerseys, do you think they're gonna say, "Oh, hey, look, we made this much money. We don't actually need to take these forced timeouts for commercial breaks"? I don't think they would ever do that. I think they would just say, "Hey, we made this much more money. Cool," and then run to the bank.
It's kind of like one of those things where the more money you get, do you fix your problems or do you just
Or
kind
do
of
you just, do you just grow? I mean,
you just grow and increase your lifestyle, creating different and more problems, maybe.
that's America.
Yeah.
Something I want to branch onto that is my biggest frustration with the NBA, and that is that I feel that there's so many teams that are just stuck in the gutter of the NBA, whereas the NFL, you get a good amount of turnover.
Would you cut down on teams?
You might have to the result of the NBA is that there's a lot of Heat fans, there's a lot of Lakers fans.
Right.
Oklahoma City recently.
there's powerhouse teams, and sure, every league has powerhouse teams.
All those Milwaukee Buck fans.
But
Well, that's something that I was reading about a lot recently. In the NFL, a lot of the reason I think that people are such huge fans are because of the parity. The ability any team could beat any team any given Sunday.
the playoffs it's one game. You just have to beat them one game, outplay them, and you get to the next round.
So
the-
do you
the
cut down for
NBA
playoffs? Do you cut down games?
I don't think you can, because that's something unique about the NBA. I'm just saying that
From an educated fan standpoint, who wouldn't want to see the 7-game series? From a casual observer, the single elimination works much better.
it's too quick, though. It's too quick for basketball. Playoffs would be
basketball,
over in
I
about
would
a week
say-
or whatever it would.
For basketball, if you were going to cut it down, I would say cut it to 5 and don't do any more than that. And that would just purely to placate the casual observer a little bit. I mean, it does worry me that if a series takes all 7 games, then it's spread out over the course of a week and a half.
What would the Super Bowl be if football was a best of 7?
Oh, well, that would never happen. Football couldn't be a best of 7.
Half the players would
I'm
be
just saying,
injured.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
the Super Bowl wouldn't be
It's not
it
that
wouldn't be a
kind of a
thing.
sport. The NBA, it's more durable, so you might as well take advantage and do more games. But what I would highlight is not the number of games of the playoffs. It's letting there be powerhouse teams. The Heat are going to be in the Final Four teams every year that they have LeBron James and crew. Same with, I would say, the Pacers.
So do you think the league should step in and prevent a team from becoming that good?
I think their luxury tax penalization is crazy, because the Heat, get fined crazy amounts of money, but they make it all back by winning championships, and they come out way in the plus.
Well, guys, I mean, it sounds like we've talked about everything there is about this issue. I mean, I could go on for hours more. This is such a dynamic topic. But
Yeah.
are you guys good with the?
I'm good.
Yep.
Awesome. Hey, well, thanks guys for listening. Really appreciate it, and see you next time.